This is the third part of our lesson on section 2.5. We're going to look at some properties of equality. The reflexive property says that any number is the same as itself. So this works for real numbers, it works for segments, and it works for angles. So for any real number A equals A. For any segment length, distance from A to B equals distance from A to B. For any angle measure of angle A equals the measure of angle A. Anything is the same as itself. You've probably heard, I am as tall as myself. The symmetric property says that if you have two things like A and B, if A equals B, then B equals A. It works for segment lengths as well. If two segment lengths are equal, you can reverse them. And for angle measures, if two angle measures are equal, you can reverse them. Transitive uses three things. If A equals B and B equals C, then you know that A equals C. So it works with segment lengths as well. If these two segments are equal, and then these two are equal, then the first one and the third one were equal. And it works for angle measures also. So if we go back to the height example, for symmetric, if I am the same height as Bob, then Bob is the same height as me. Transitive, there's three people involved. So I'm the same height as Bob. Bob is the same height as Charlie. So you know that I am the same height as Charlie. Good way to remember this. Reflexive, symmetric, transitive. 1, 2, 3. RST 1, 2, 3. Reflexive has one thing. You compare it with itself. For anything, it's the same as itself or equal to itself. Symmetric has two things. So you can write that they're equal either way. Transitive has three things. If two are the same, and then another two are the same, then those two that weren't matched up, they're the same as well. We went over that because you're going to need it when we look at this proof. This one is on heart rate. When you exercise, your target heart rate should be between 50% and 70% of your maximum heart rate. Your heart rate, that's R, at 70% can be determined by this formula. R equals 0.70, that's 70%, times the quantity 220 minus A, where A represents your age in years. Solve the formula for A. So the first thing we're going to do is write our equation down. R equals 0.7 times the quantity 220 minus A. We're not going to be doing this for very much longer, but we are going to write an explanation column here also. We're writing the original equation. That's how we're going to start our proof. That's our given information. So that's our reason. They give you this to start with. Write it down. Write the original equation. Now you want to get A by itself. We have a number outside of quantity. You need to distribute that 0.7 times those two numbers. So we're going to take 0.7 times 220. I need my calculator for that. That gives you 140. I'm also taking 0.7 times A. What did I do there? I distributed 0.7 over the quantity. What's the actual proper name for that? That's the distribution property of equality. We still want A by itself. Let's move this term. So to move it, we're going to subtract it from both sides. Put into words what you did there. How did you get from here to here? We subtracted 140 from both sides. From both sides. So this middle column just kind of helps you figure out what you did there. If you can't see it from here to here, the middle column helps. That's your subtraction property of equality. We're almost there. To get A by itself, we need to divide by negative 0.7. So here's how that looks. So just put into words what you did. We divided by negative 0.7. That's your division property of equality. Now, if you left it like this, it is solved for A, but we talked about those properties on the previous slide, where if this thing equals this thing, you could write it either way. So hopefully I can pull this off without throwing us out of here. I don't know that I can. Anyways, I'm going to try to squeeze it in over here. I'm going to say that A equals R minus 140 divided by negative 0.7. If it's equal this way, it's equal that way. What did I use to flip them around? That's your symmetric property. And it's a property of equality because we had two things that were equal. So I kind of lost my middle column there. I guess in the middle column I would just write that I switched the left side and the right side. That's what the symmetric property lets you do.